Good evening.
Just name and address,
My
please.
name is Stephen Foley, and I live at 480 Summer Street. And each time we've been here, I've complained about the irrigation field, which is now irrigation field number 6, which seems to be getting bigger and bigger. Each time I complain, their response is to make it larger. But I noticed this time they referred to it in one of the early drawings as community amenity space. And then it then continues in all the other pages as part of the irrigation field. And this community amenity space, is that a euphemism for a pickleball court? Because that's what it sounds like to me. I don't know whether they can build anything above the irrigation field, but they certainly shouldn't be able to. And again, that irrigation field is right adjacent to both my property and Sally Winter's property, and the slope of the land in that area is downhill. So once that overflows, which it invariably will, it's going to be trickling down or washing down onto both my property and Sally's property. So that is a problem for me.
That's one of the comments that we're still looking at the design, so yes.
Another problem I have is they've made the emergency access into now a walking path, which and this is all elevated above my property and Sally's property, so that the people who are going to be walking by now are going to be watching me in my backyard, and so no more sunbathing in the nude. Not that there ever was. Yes, thank you very much. And the problem I have is you've got all these retaining walls. It looks like the Vatican. Well, that's going to create more water runoff, and is that water going to be running off into the Uncas Brook down, right down into the town forest and then into Uncas Brook? That's a concern I have, because that's such a beautiful town forest that we have, and we shouldn't allow it to be ruined. Another thing we have, every one of us here that pays taxes gets their community preservation fee added into their taxes, and then the latest one, the watershed fee that we're paying. All of that is going to be disturbed seriously when they chop down all the trees, which they're going to have to do to put this project in. It just doesn't. And the most important thing is the community at large. I've yet at any of these meetings to hear anybody other than the developers speak in favor of it. Everybody has unanimously been opposed to it and continues to be opposed to it. I think that it's time for the board to say, look, enough is enough. No special permit. Thank you.
Brenda Brown, 737 Summer Street.
Just try to be
I will, but I do have some things to say. That's fine. I do agree that this has gone on long enough. I think we all have. We've endured a year, it's been exactly a year now, of just continuous postponing meetings, coming to meetings with the developer not fulfilling what he needed to fulfill or justifying that this project should even be taking place. Back in February of 2024, in that meeting, it was stated that the town had exceeded the 2.5% units for senior housing, and the Department of Planning and Community Development recommended that the planning board required that the applicant provide proof that there was a critical senior housing need for the town. And if that waiver wasn't granted, that the project should be denied. That was their words. And so I ask, why wasn't this project denied a year ago? Immediately. It just should not have even been considered. And isn't it typical that both of those boards should be working together collaboratively and respect each other's opinions on these types of approvals for projects of this size? I received confirmation today that there is still no critical senior housing need. So again, doesn't the board have the responsibility to look out for the residents' best interests? And deny this? There just does not seem to be any logical reason as to why you would impose this, especially in rural residential zoned land. The other thing was, at that same meeting a year ago, it was stated that only 18 units were going to be allowed for this. Yet we've gone from 44 to 40 to 30. Now we're down to 28. Why isn't it even being reduced down to the 18? I don't even know how we got to the 19. That number, I didn't even see where that came from. And that should have been from the very beginning. And it's just wasted everybody's time for a year now. We all purchased our land in rural residential neighborhoods, which would be single-family homes. And we continue to just have to fight to keep our properties protected and zoned as rural residential, and it's not right. And, you know, I know you're talking about dense properties and, you know, have him stick 4 houses or whatever he can of single-family homes in there and call it a day.
That's right.
This just goes on and on. This proposal is not about providing housing for aging seniors living on a budget. I think we all know that. That's been kicked around now. It's about the applicant making as much money as he can, and they shouldn't be allowed to rezone the land just to accomplish that. If so, again, where does it end? Do we just, you know, do away with all rural residential land in Franklin? And again, these seniors are not going to be able to afford these homes. And by the time they're built, which is going to be, what, 5 years from now or whatever, what are we talking, $1 million at that point, maybe even more? The traffic study, you know, just the construction alone, once this thing starts, the traffic and the noise for years. We just endured 2 houses going up in back of us, in back of 737. Took them 3 years to do it with constant jackhammering, noise, construction, dirt. It was horrible. So make no mistake, this is going to be way longer than that. The developer claims that traffic will be less than that of a typical family residential development because many of the residents are going to be retired, which is ridiculous. And yet he also just stated earlier that most over 55 won't be retired. So that's contradictory in what he had said earlier to begin with. If they are retired, they're going to have a lot more time on their hands to be driving around. So that's just going to add to the traffic situation. I'm just trying to get my point across, Chairman Rondo, because for some reason, it's unbelievable as to why this is still going on after a year.
Can I interrupt and just answer that question?
Yes,
The
please.
reason is because they filed and we had our first public hearing.
Uh-huh.
I think they might have come back one other time and continued until October. And then in October, they had not come before us. And at our last planning board meeting, when they were scheduled and asked for another continuance, we asked them to come in at this meeting. And if they did not show up at this meeting, we would be voting to close the hearing and voting on the permit. The applicant has continued the hearings. We have not as a planning board.
No, I understand that.
Yes.
That's what's so aggravating is they just keep continuing it till when?
So the
we.
answer to that question for you, and I think I will just speak for myself.
Yeah.
I would like to see if there is not a critical need proven for this project, we will make a motion and vote on the waiver. You're absolutely right.
For the first
Tonight?
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 No, not tonight.
Not tonight.
Why
So,
not?
so why aren't we prepared to do it tonight? I mean, why was it
The
just
applicant should
postponed
be afforded an
again?
opportunity to defend their position,
So,
because
They
that's.
had a year to figure it out.
Nobody who's not getting paid wants this.
please.
How much you
No.
getting paid?
Pardon yourself.
That's
Excuse me?
unnecessary.
We're
That's
volunteers.
unnecessary,
Oh,
sir.
That's on the line.
Unnecessary.
Oh, good.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Next.
and just to remind you, one last thing, again, at that September 23rd meeting, Chairman Rondo, you did say that the applicant needed to come back, and yet he did not in the October meeting with a plan that suited the town and the neighbors, and clearly it is not suiting the neighbors. Thank you.
I need to address your comments, sir, and I don't usually do this. But to insinuate that any of us are up here getting paid by this developer?
Not you.
No, or any of us.
Maybe.
I'm sorry, any of us.
Yes.
That is
Settle
not
down.
Yes.
Settle
appropriate.
down.
It
That's
is
Yeah.
totally online. Totally online, man. It's totally
It's
online.
rude and disrespectful
online.
to all of us who spend our time up here and give up things for our families.
Not you.
Now, I don't care if it's me, I'm speaking for
You
the
know
rest of
what,
the
there's a
board.
state board of ethics, you are
You.
welcome to contact the state board of ethics,
Absolutely.
sir, and I speak with them all the time about matters.
What's
So
your
you-
name?
My name is Jay Mello, it's right here. I work in the public sector, for you to accuse me of that is disgusting, all right, disgusting.
Deal with it.
So you can go to the state board of ethics, tough guy, and you can file a
Make a
complaint.
motion to close the public hearing. Not enough tonight.
To continue, continue. We're gonna continue
Make a
it.
motion to close the public hearing.
This is, I'm
Why?
Make a motion to vote on the waiver then.
No.
Enough. Enough.
I,
I'm up from everybody.
I should get a chance because this is affecting my property the most.
Not when people are yelling at us and
No.
calling us.
Well, I wasn't yelling,
No, we're gonna
Beth.
make a motion to continue.
This guy's.
This is not fair.
Amy.
This is just not fair, Mr. Rondo.
What's the date?
March 24th.
Make a motion to continue 488, 496.
This is not fair, Beth. I've worked very hard to come to these meetings.
March 24th. Yes, please don't talk over us.
Close and move the hearing.
Can I just talk for 2 minutes, please? You want to know what Mr. Rondeau said to me on the phone, which was disrespectful? He said, "Why don't you buy the property? You're selling Maplegate." How rude and disrespectful is
Motion to
that?
close the
Motion
meeting.
to close. Second. All in favor?
How rude.
Boo.
How rude.
You're way too sensitive about it. I mean, you're gonna cry about it, there's no need to cry, there's the facts, and then just vote on it, make a decision. You're volunteering, but you don't know right from wrong, just vote on it and make a decision. The fact that it brings up such anger should tell you something.
You know?
I mean,
No, I'm just worried about.
Hey, go grab it.
Amigo is pretty bad.
Chris, is somebody bigger?
Yeah.
I can't do anything.
Did you make a motion? What?
No, to make a motion to adjourn.
I think she left. I think she left the building.
All right.
I saw her walk down the stairs.
All her stuff is okay.
Oh, all her stuff is there?
Yeah, I just don't want her, I just want to,
Chris, yeah.
Amy, I just want to make sure she's
You want to go on the altercation? I saw her walk down the stairs with a jacket, but I could be wrong.
Oh, is it your birthday? My son's third birthday. Today. We can't close it.
No, let's just close the hearing.
Next time, no.
No, the meeting is not closing.
You know what I'm gonna do next time? And I won't sign it. Yeah, but I wasn't aware of it. So, no, we're gonna have to do it next time.
I normally, I just, so many points.
Did you find her? Did you find her? No? Do you want me to go check the ladies' room?
Light was off.
The light was off.
She
Yeah.
wants to.
Chris,
Is her car
no,
out
we'll
there?
just,
Her car's gone?
I'll just make a motion to adjourn, we have a majority.
All right, second.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Very second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Chris? Aye. Thank you.
Let me make sure.
Yeah, no,